least favorite hire of the offseason? Go ahead, Brad.
That's got to be Todd Monken. By the way, for the record, Drew Petzing and I are not related. Just want to put that on record. A lot of people think we are doppelgangers. We're twins. We were separated at birth. Yes, we're bald white guys, but no, we're not related. I digress on Todd Monken. Again, I've already said my piece about this. Just what the hell, Cleveland? Bringing in a retread guy that had a modicum of success previously with that organization to now spearhead the quote unquote rebuild, where Shedeur Sanders likely going to be the starter next year. Quinshon Judkins, we're going to see when he's going to be available and back, though he was highly effective as a running back and he was on the field, but that gruesome leg injury, I think it's got to be doubtful he's going to be ready by week 1. They got quality tight ends there and David Njoku, Harold Fannin Jr. Jerry Jeudy's okay, but is Monken really going to make this team a potential playoff squad? No. I think all he's got to do is get this team closer and closer to slipping and falling into the depths of Lake Erie. I'd never understood this, a lack of creativity, a retread with the same organization and not going after, say, an up-and-coming star like Nathan Shieldhouse. I thought it was one of the dumbest moves of the entire offseason. Sticking to my guns, I'm not going to budge. Cleveland, why? Oh, that's right. You're the factory of sadness.
Yep, I got Todd Monken on my list as well, and for a lot of the things you said, but it's also for the fact that from day one of the offseason, I said Jim Schwartz is the perfect candidate to be promoted here, and you risk losing him if you choose somebody else. They choose Todd Monken. Never been a head coach in the NFL level. His head coach was Southern Miss. And Jim Schwartz, we still don't have a resolution of how this is going to play out. Maybe he comes back, but there was reports that he told people in the locker room, in the building, I'm done, I'm out of here. He was pissed off that he got passed over. So we'll see how it plays out, but I thought Jim Schwartz getting promoted to be the head coach would have been the better decision. So you and I agree there. I'll go with the one that was probably the most recent in terms of like the high-profile stuff. Nathaniel Hackett is going to be the Cardinals offensive coordinator for Mike LaFleur.
Why?
I mean, did we not watch the last 3-4 years of football for this guy? You want to talk, we complain at times like the NFL is like, oh, just about who you know, and all these guys hiring their buddies. Like, it's one thing when they have proven success. It's another thing when Nathaniel Hackett, who basically got any and all kind of credit just because of the couple of years with Aaron Rodgers, he goes to Denver to be the head coach, one of the worst head coaching stints in the history of football. The guy made it 15 games, and in the first game, we were like, yo, this guy has no idea what he's doing on the sidelines, can't call timeouts, had to basically have an assistant follow him around just to tell him when to call timeouts, remind him you can challenge plays, when to challenge plays, how to manage a clock. Okay, that's fine. He's only going to be the offense coordinator, right? The New York Jets offense was an absolute atrocity with Nathaniel Hackett calling plays. And I get it. He was supposed to have his buddy Aaron Rodgers. He didn't. The offense was a atrocity when Nathaniel Hackett had to try to draw something up for Zach Wilson and whatever other quarterbacks were in there for those 2 years. And then he goes to be, here's how you know that he shouldn't be an offense coordinator, Brad, because he goes back with his buddy Matt LaFleur last year in Green Bay, and his role was defensive analyst. The guy is so bad at offense that they said, why don't you work on the defense here, Nathaniel Hackett? Now he's going to be the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. Oh, my God. Basically, Matt LaFleur said to his brother Mike, hey, take this guy because, who knows? Maybe he'll rediscover how to call plays. I don't get it. I really do not get it, man. This does not make sense to me, and I think Mike LaFleur is going to call the plays, but still, like Nathaniel Hackett, he can't hack it. He shouldn't be on an NFL staff. So this is the most abysmal to me here, especially because it happened a couple of days ago, and I feel like nobody realized it.
Yeah, that really is bad. I did see that note. I'm like, why is he still coaching? Why are people still giving Nathaniel Hackett jobs? I didn't even realize he was a defensive analyst. I mean, that goes to show just how far your star has fallen. It is cratered to the center, the core of the earth. When you
and he was and Brad,
then you're
he was wanted here. He was going to be the quarterback coach for the Dolphins. Jeff Hafley hired him to be the QB coach, and then he spurns him to go to the Cardinals. Like, this guy was wanted by multiple teams here. I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I understand. I really don't understand a lot of these retreads that just keep failing and almost falling forward. Like, why? Why do you just gotta, do this again, knowing the inevitable outcome is going to be failure? It's just dumbfounding.
Who are your other least favorite hires of this offseason?
Yeah, I didn't like the Joel Brady promotion from OC to head coach in Buffalo. Again, to get rid of Sean McDermott, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're going to have a change in, thinking, just a change in the overall process and approach. Josh Allen obviously had a voice in the room. I think really stressed continuity and consistency with the system. He didn't want to have to, maybe learn an entirely new system. I can't really blame him for that. And a guy that's obviously played at MVP level in a Joe Brady system. But it's like, why did you get rid of McDermott then? Like that one was puzzling to me, that they didn't try to bring somebody in that may be able to inject some new thoughts, inject some new plays, inject some new ideas into the overall game plan to get even more out of Josh Allen, to get even more out of James Cook in the entire offense, which is one of the best. And the biggest weakness, of course, for this organization is on defense. Not on the back end, as we've said, and largely due to injuries, a little bit due to ineptitude as well. But the defensive front line was atrocious all year. Sean McDermott had done really a pretty damn good job over his entire tenure there, coaching the defense, which is his area of specialty. So, for me, that one was just bizarre. I didn't like just the simple promotion in-house, and of course the fallout with Bean and the news conference and everything else. That one to me had to be high on my list because they didn't want to, bring somebody in with some fresh ideas. And that's the only reason why.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Really quickly here to move on. One more for me. I don't like Zach Robinson taking over as the offense coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I thought a lot of the Atlanta Falcons' failures on offense, yes, Michael Penix needed to be better. His inaccuracy was ultimately damning to this offense. And then Kirk Cousins played almost half the season. But I just think the fact that, Zach Robinson uses the most uses the most motion at the snap. He uses the fifth most pre-snap motion. Everybody loves pre-snap motion. Yeah, it's one thing to use it. It's nothing to use it well. I didn't watch the Atlanta Falcons this year and think that, wow, the way they use motion is so incredibly inspiring. And also, the guy can't he can't quit the pistol, right? Some of us are alcoholics.
Yeah.
Some of us smoke too much weed. Some of us are shopaholics. Zach Robinson is a pistolaholic. He's a pistolaholic. He loves to pay. Can't get away from the pistol. So I know that Todd Bowles basically said, well, he can adapt to, he'll tailor the offense to Mayfield's strengths. And, the offense could look a little bit, different. But I thought that offense was way too predictable with Zach Robinson calling the plays. It got so bad that he had to go from the sideline or from the coaching booth upstairs down to the sideline so he could get better communication with Penix and then with Kirk Cousins. So I just think that this is a guy that failed in his last stop, and now he's getting a pretty good, pretty coveted job here in Tampa Bay. I don't like it. I really don't. And I don't, it's going to be on Baker Mayfield. A lot is going to be on Baker Mayfield's shoulders here, which, could work. Baker Mayfield could make him look really, really good. He made Liam Cohen look so damn good that he got a head coaching job, and it proved that Liam Cohen was a hell of a head coach. Same thing with Dave Canales, who's done a good job in Carolina. I don't see Zach Robinson playing that same role for them. And after they whiffed on Josh Grizzard, I thought you needed to do everything you could to get Mike McDaniel there, and they didn't. And so now you're stuck with Zach Robinson, who I'm not expecting a lot out of. One more for you?
Yeah, it's got to be Sean Mannion because I don't really know what he's going to bring to the table. Now the Philadelphia offensive coordinator, only been out of the league a couple of years, a perennial backup quarterback during his unillustrious NFL career. Is he going to be an effective play caller for an offense that needs some creativity? I got the tush push, and it's still widely effective despite a lot of the disgruntled feelings that many people in the front offices and among the coaching staffs have in the NFL. It's still alive and well. But A.J. Brown ain't a happy camper. Is even going to be a part of this roster. Got Devontae Smith there. Can be, one of the premier field stretchers of the league. Jalen Hurts, I felt really regressed in terms of his accuracy. Became far more wildly inaccurate this year. And Saquon Barkley took a step back. And we knew that was going to be the case coming off the 2,000-yard campaign. But it was a harsh correction for him and not find the end zone really consistently as well. And, you got question marks along the offensive line. This is not, in my mind, really an ideal situation for a first-time play caller there in Sean Mannion. And I definitely question the hire. And, I question anything tied to Nick Sirianni, who I think just is a hothead and a head case and somebody who's too demonstrative and just, too out there at times to really steer what I feel is a stable ship. So good luck, Philadelphia. I just don't think Sean Mannion's going to work out, but I could be terribly and horrifically wrong, which I often am.
Yeah, look, Sean Mannion is going to dance on all of our takes graves if he does kill it, because I don't know one person that's actually happy with this here. The guy's been a coach for 2 seasons, 2 in the NFL, never called plays. You're like, this was the Eagles. This is the Eagles. This was supposed to be such a coveted job here going into it. I thought Mike McDaniel. I thought Cliff Kingsbury. I thought Brian Dable. Hell, I would have thought Zach Robinson. I would have put him ahead of Sean Mannion, a guy that I watched play. It was like a week 16 or week 17 game in the NFL just 3 years ago and stunk up the joint. Now that's could be completely, disregarding of how good of a coach or an offense coordinator he could be. But, it obviously helps our takes when we do realize that he was not a great quarterback. And now 2 years later, this guy's calling plays here for the Eagles for an offense that has Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We all asked, this job's got to be one of the best jobs going around, maybe more interesting, maybe more coveted than a head coaching job. And then it kind of played out that, hey, maybe nobody wants this job. Why is that? Is that because of Nick Sirianni? Or is it because of Jalen Hurts? And how much does A.J. Brown factor into that? We had that debate. We had that debate a couple of times. And you know what? The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think it's actually Nick Sirianni because, we actually just got some more news here that I think proves that right. In the last day or two, the Eagles offensive lineman coach, Jeff Stoutland, quote unquote, legendary offensive line coach, is retiring, not returning next season. Maybe he's not retiring. He's not returning to the Eagles. And there was reports that, basically he was supposed to be a run game coordinator. And Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo kind of basically ignored what Jeff Stoutland was saying as regards to the offensive line. And they started to do their own thing. And he felt disrespected. It was like, screw you, I'm out of here. So that's making me think more and more that it's Nick Sirianni that prevented from this being a desirable position here this offseason. So, yeah, they get stuck with Sean Mannion. Now, like you said, they might be lucky, and this guy might be the next freaking offensive genius here, but I think it's unlikely. I really think it's unlikely, so I agree with you. I think it was a bad hire, but can it be a bad hire if nobody wanted the job? That's the question.